Parliament set to erupt, Carney confronts unavoidable fall showdown. Canada is entering a pivotal political moment as Parliament prepares to reconvene this fall, with Prime Minister Mark Carney facing heightened scrutiny over his economic policies, trade negotiations, and federal spending. After a relatively quiet summer, the nation is now witnessing the end of what many have described as Carney's free ride. With pressing concerns ranging from inflation and cost of living to trade disputes with the United States, the upcoming parliamentary session promises intense debate, accountability, and confrontation. Canadians are looking for clarity and tangible solutions, and the spotlight is squarely on the Prime Minister. Carney's political journey is notable not only for its historical context, but also for the dramatic path that has taken him to the top office. His recent victory in Niagara South marked a historic shift, turning a riding that had not elected a conservative since the 1980s toward a more centrist, performance-driven political outlook. His early years in politics began as a young staffer for the last Conservative MP in the area, where he quickly developed a deep understanding of parliamentary operations and the responsibilities of public service. These experiences would later shape his commitment to accountability and constituent engagement, laying the foundation for his leadership ambitions. The decision to re-enter politics was fueled largely by frustrations over the carbon tax and its economic impact on families and small businesses. Carney recognized that fiscal policy and government intervention were critical areas where Canadians were seeking relief and practical solutions. His return to the political arena coincided with a period of uncertainty: Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's resignation, a snap federal election, and immediate leadership transitions created a turbulent environment. Yet, Carney's campaign emphasized grassroots engagement, with door-to-door outreach covering tens of thousands of homes and a clear focus on connecting with constituents on the issues that matter most. Victory on election night was both historic and deeply symbolic. It represented not just a political win, but a validation of the effort and collaboration of an entire campaign team. Carney's emphasis on teamwork and accountability resonated with voters, particularly those disillusioned with partisan politics. As he stepped onto Parliament Hill to deliver his maiden speech, the emotional gravity of the moment underscored the weight of democratic responsibility. For Carney, being elected is never about personal accolades. It is about representing the people faithfully and ensuring their voices are heard at the highest levels of government. The responsibilities of governance are heightened by a range of pressing economic concerns. Canada's federal deficit has grown in recent years, projected to reach $92 to $93 billion, fueled by increased discretionary spending and interest obligations. Inflation remains a persistent challenge, particularly for households struggling with rising costs of food, housing, and energy. The need for oversight and transparent fiscal management has never been greater, and opposition MPs are preparing to scrutinize government actions with renewed vigor. Carney faces the difficult task of balancing economic growth, social programs, and responsible deficit management while maintaining public confidence. Trade relations, particularly with the United States, have emerged as a focal point for parliamentary debate. Tariffs on steel, aluminum, and other critical goods have created friction, and the government's handling of negotiations has drawn both criticism and concern. While Carney has claimed diplomatic progress, many analysts point to unresolved disputes and the risk of further concessions in upcoming renegotiations. The stakes are high not only for Canadian exporters and manufacturers, but also for the broader economy, as trade disruptions ripple through supply chains and impact employment and investment. Carney's critics argue that political rhetoric has sometimes overshadowed substantive results, with claims of best deals and policy successes contrasted by lingering economic pressures on everyday Canadians. Opposition parties are preparing to challenge these assertions directly, emphasizing accountability and evidence-based scrutiny. Constituents across the country are demanding transparency, particularly regarding how public funds are spent, which sectors are prioritized, and how government policies translate into tangible benefits for families, workers, and businesses. Within the broader political landscape, the NDP's role adds complexity to governance. While holding the balance of power in certain parliamentary decisions, the party continues to struggle with organizational cohesion and financial stability. Past alliances with the Liberals have left some voters skeptical, creating openings for the Conservative coalition to appeal to working-class Canadians who prioritize results over ideology. This shift indicates a potential transformation in Canadian politics toward a more pragmatic, performance-driven approach, where leadership effectiveness is measured by outcomes rather than partisan loyalty. The social implications of Carney's policies also weigh heavily on public opinion. Housing affordability, access to health care, and cost-of-living pressures remain central concerns for many Canadians. Communities are calling for policies that balance fiscal responsibility with practical support for citizens, particularly those who feel marginalized or overlooked in previous legislative cycles. As Parliament resumes, these social priorities are expected to dominate discussions alongside economic and trade issues, making the fall session a critical test of Carney's ability to govern effectively. Canada's relationship with the United States continues to influence domestic policy decisions. President Donald Trump's imposition of tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum created immediate economic challenges, prompting temporary retaliatory measures that have since been partially lifted. Despite easing some tariffs, lingering trade restrictions and the potential for future disputes keep economic uncertainty high. Carney's approach to diplomacy, negotiation, and strategic concessions will be closely monitored, both domestically and internationally, as Canadians demand results that protect jobs, industry, and long-term competitiveness. Looking ahead, the fall parliamentary session is set to be intense and decisive. Opposition MPs will scrutinize the government on trade, economic policy, social programs, and the growing deficit. Carney's ability to manage these challenges while maintaining public trust will define his political legacy and influence Canada's economic direction and global standing. Citizens expect transparency, clarity, and effective leadership amid a complex and evolving landscape. The summer's calm is over. Parliament is set to erupt as Carney faces an unavoidable fall showdown. This session will test policies against real-world outcomes and public expectations. The Prime Minister's leadership, negotiation skills, and decisions will determine whether Canada can overcome economic challenges, sustain competitiveness, and secure prosperity. Scrutiny, debate, and decisive action will mark a pivotal moment in Canadian politics.